All right, let's talk about easy running. I have a lot of notes out here so that I remember to cover everything that I want to say. But first of all, you have to give it time. Easy running is not a pace. Your body only knows effort. And there are a lot of different methods to approaching easy running and how to see fitness gains. If your body isn't responding to one approach, there are many other approaches that we can take and experiment with. And as I say, with everything, with nutrition, with hydration, with speed workouts, with running, with rest, recovery, mindset, everyone is different and everyone's approach is going to look different. Everyone's training plan is going to look different. Everyone's view is going to be different because your goals are different. And your chapter today is different than the chapter when you started running. And it's going to look different in a year, in 2 years, in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years, in 50 years, okay? So yes, we do need to make adjustments over time, and what worked before may not work right now. What works right now may not work for you in a year. What worked last year may work for you in 5 years, okay? So we're always experimenting. We're always trying to figure out what is going to work best for us, what feels best for our season of life. Now, that being said, I want you to understand that effort again is based on many different factors. Easy running, when I say you have an easy 5-mile run or an easy 30-minute run, Training Peaks is automatically going to calculate a pace, distance, time, all of that sort based on your current threshold data, your zone data. Whether we've done a threshold test or you've used a recent race, or if we literally just set up your Training Peaks account and it has the default information in there, okay? So I want you to pay attention to what I'm telling you actually to do. Am I saying a 5-mile easy run in strides? Am I saying a 30-minute easy run? Okay, so whatever distance or time that I'm telling you to run for, easy effort, that's what I want you to do. If I'm telling you 5-mile easy run, I don't want you to be concerned about the distance that Training Peaks has in there or the pace. If I'm telling you to go based on time, I don't want you to be concerned about, or if I'm telling you, whatever the example that I gave you first, if you're running based on distance, don't worry about total time, don't worry about pace. If you're running based on total distance, is that what I just said? Oh my gosh. If you're running based on total time, don't worry about distance and pace, okay? So only worry about the total thing that I'm telling you to do and keeping an easy effort. So what does easy effort mean? Easy effort it's a conversational pace. If you are running next to someone, you should be able to maintain a conversation with them, and you shouldn't have to take a breath in between every few words, okay? You should be able to carry out a conversation. Now, yes, I understand that terrain, humidity, if you have a cold, all these things factor into easy effort, and thus your Training Peaks, your watch, is going to show a different pace over every single day, okay? Yes, you may really get in that flow state, especially if you're running by yourself and training is really going well. You're going to show a similar pace, okay? Especially if you're running like the same route. But that's not always going to happen, okay? So make sure that you're keeping it easy. If you're running by yourself, which, yes, like all of us run by ourselves at some point or another, talk out loud to yourself. Like, we're runners, okay? You need to test it. You need to make sure that it is actually an easy pace. If you're listening to music, if you like singing, sing part of the lyrics and test it out with yourself, okay? Your watch is not 100% accurate. Your heart rate monitor is not 100% accurate. Running watches like Garmin, Coros, they're more accurate than the Apple Watch in terms of heart rate. I wear my Garmin. I've worn a Whoop strap for over a year. I don't wear it anymore because I really used it as a tool to figure out how my body was responding to getting back into running after burnout, and making sure that what I was feeling lined up with the data. Okay, that's how you can also really become in tune with your body, is using the data to help you. Say, like, before you look at your watch to see what your heart rate is reading, ask yourself, like, what does this actually feel like? What effort level is this? Do I think it's in the 130s, 140s, 150s? Am I running too fast? Before looking at your watch, okay? But that being said, not everyone's watch is even close to being accurate. There are some of you whose watches read 170 the entire time. Now, with that may be cadence lock. Sometimes your watch is going to lock in with your cadence. It's measuring the pounding of your feet instead of your heart rate, okay? So you just need to really be aware of that. If your watch locks onto your cadence in the middle of a run or at the beginning, you can stop, you can move your watch around. Sometimes it needs like sweat or saliva to have that contact. Maybe your watch is not actually tight on your wrist. So just try a few things out, but ultimately do not become too frustrated with it, because you need to learn how to run based on feel without relying on your watch, okay? What else? So easy running is the foundation of your training, okay? The majority of your running is going to be at an easy effort level. When you build your aerobic capacity and your endurance through easy running, your fitness is going to improve over time, okay? Easy running is not something that's going to dramatically improve in a month or 2 months or 3 months, okay? I have been back to running for almost 2 years now, and I'm still working at it, okay? But after about a year and a half is when I really felt comfortable with it. And it's steadied out now, okay? I feel like I'm running pretty efficiently, especially on my easy runs. It just takes time. I started with run walk intervals. I walked for 14 months before I started running again. I'm going to actually show this graph right now. But I need you to understand that nothing is wrong with walking. Walking actually improves your endurance. It's low impact. If you are doing run walk intervals right now, if you're getting back into running, if you're looking to really increase your endurance, your aerobic base, nothing is wrong with more walking. Go for more walks, okay? I was walking a ton because I wanted to maintain that. I wanted to do everything possible, because running was one thing that I could not do. But I could do everything else that was low impact and not stressful to my body. One of those is walking. Another one is strength training, okay? I was working on nutrition. I was working on sleep, recovery, mindset, all of those other things except running. Running was that one thing. So as soon as I felt like I could start running again, I started with run walk intervals, but everything else was supporting that. So although it looked like I had this huge comeback and jumped right into running and was done with run walk intervals fairly quickly, but that's because I was supporting with all these other things. So if you're getting into running, if you're doing run walk intervals, if you feel like you're walking a lot during your runs, make sure you're supporting it with strength training, nutrition, sleep, mindset, reducing stress. Okay, all of those things make a difference. But again, one of the biggest things that you can do to benefit and to support your training is to walk more. Okay, now I'm not saying go walk 10 miles every day. That's going to be stressful on the body. But you can gradually ease into it and increase mileage over time. So when it comes to run walk intervals, there's there's kind of two things that I see with athletes. So I have this image. The red line is what a lot of people do. The blue line is what we want to do. So when you're starting out running, when you're doing run walk intervals, as you're increasing your mileage, I find that a lot of runners want to take off really fast, see how fast they can run, and then they have to walk fairly quickly thereafter because the heart rate gets up to that moderate intensity level, and we need to keep it at an easy effort at that low intensity level, okay? So then they have to walk again. This is them walking. Then they get down to 120 beats per minute or so, and they start running again, and they take off again. And then they end up running for a shorter interval than the first time that they did it. And then they stop dead in their tracks and start walking again to get their heart rate to drop. They start running again, but each time their speed decreases, and each time their length of time running decreases, and their length of time of walking increases. We want to smooth that curve out over time. We want to gradually accelerate into the run at a level that we feel like we can maintain at that easy effort level, run a little bit slower even than something that we think that we can maintain so that we can run longer, slowly decrease into that walk, and then then you can walk less because your heart rate responds a lot quicker. Then you can accelerate into the run at an easy effort level, and then walk again, okay? So you are running a lot more, walking a lot less. Yes, you're running slower than this person, but over time, again, your body knows effort, not pace. Easy run pace does not matter. I don't care if your easy run pace is 11 minutes per mile or 8 minutes per mile, okay? If your easy run is 8 minutes per mile, we need to talk about that because I don't think anyone in this group is at that fitness level. I am not running my easy runs at 8 minutes per mile either. So just remember that we want to smooth these jagged intervals out over time for our easy runs. And we want to eventually run the entire time. But in order to do that, we need to slow down how fast we're running so that we can run for longer and walk for less time, okay? So let me know if you have any questions about this graphic, but I just wanted to visually show this. It's not the best drawing, but I think it gives a pretty good visual of eventually getting to that straight purple line where we run the entire time, okay? So that's the thought behind easy effort running. Here is kind of a graphic. Let me, I can hopefully show this to you on what impacts easy effort. What impacts effort at all, okay? How much sleep did you get last night? What was your nutrition like yesterday? What was it like before your run? Hormonal phase, life stress. Are you extremely stressed in your family, in your career? Are you, there are so many different variables that play into your pace and your effort level, okay? The weather, the terrain. We are getting into hot, humid weather, and even if it doesn't feel super hot and there's high humidity, you're going to be running slower at the same effort level than on a day that has less humidity, okay? So think about that. Yesterday's training. Did you lift legs yesterday? Did you have a speed workout yesterday? Think about all of the factors that play into why you felt like you did today during your run, okay? Now, yes, it goes both good and bad. So maybe you got a ton of sleep last night. Maybe you were feeling very well. Maybe you had a rest day yesterday, so you're going to feel better today. And your pace is going to reflect a faster pace for the same effort level than it did 2 days ago when you were running on low sleep, when you were stressed, when you didn't have much to drink or eat the day before or whatever, okay? So understand that there's a lot that goes into what easy effort feels like. Now, I know that I mentioned that watches, heart rate straps, technology is not completely accurate. That does not give you the out or the excuse to say, but Jackie, I'm running easy, so I'm just going to keep on running it, even though my heart rate says that I'm averaging 170 beats per minute for the majority of my run, but I can tell that it's not based on cadence. I can tell that you just actually sped up the entire time, or that you're running too fast the entire time. I can tell based on the charts, the majority of the time, if you're actually running at an easy effort level and your heart rate monitor's off, or if you're blind to the intensity. So there is something that is called intensity blindness, and this is where I'm going to really challenge your thoughts around easy running and how that makes you feel. If you're not making progress in your running, there's, again, a lot of factors that go into that, but one of those is easy running. Are you truly running your easy runs easy, or are you pushing too hard? Okay. If you are truly running your easy runs easy, there, again, are other things that we need to consider. Life stress. Are you stuck? Is your nervous system dysregulated? Are you stressed in other aspects of your life? Are you underfueling? Are you not sleeping well? Are you not getting quality sleep? Are you not sleeping enough? There's a lot that goes into that we need to think about and get to the root cause of why some of this stuff is happening. The benefits of easy running are endless. But again, a lot of it goes back to promoting a more efficient running form. It's allowing your muscles in your arms, torso, core, legs to strengthen, okay? Although, again, running does not make you stronger. You have to strength train in order to get stronger, but you cannot start from 0 and run 30 miles per week and not expect injuries to occur over time, because you have to allow your body to get stronger and to adapt to the stress. So you have easy running allows the tendons, ligaments, joints, and bones to adapt to the stress of running, which is why we have a very gradual increase in mileage. It's why after you run a race, we do a reverse taper after a recovery period, because we have to allow, promote that recovery and to allow your body to, again, respond to the stress of increased mileage. At a cellular level, it increases the quantity and the size of the mitochondria in your body, which has to do with energy, conserving stores of glycogen, and the consumption of oxygen. It also trains, obviously, your cardiovascular system and your muscular systems to efficiently absorb, deliver, and utilize oxygen while removing waste products. So this is where we talk about lactate threshold. It's your body's ability to consume oxygen and how much it can consume oxygen. So that's where we talk about lactate testing, threshold testing, and yes, aerobic or easy running builds your aerobic capacity. It really builds the engine that you have for running. But we also need to do speed workouts. We need to do strength training in order to stress our cardiovascular system in a way that allows us to adapt and consume, or to use, more oxygen, okay? So we want to move towards running more efficiently, which means using up more oxygen. That's what you think about when you think about a higher VO2 max. It's the volume of oxygen your body can consume during exercise, and use actually glycogen more efficiently, okay? So there's a lot that goes into easy running, but easy running isn't the only answer, okay? We want to stress the body with speed workouts, which allow our body to, with rest, adapt to that consumption of oxygen, which then increases our fitness, okay? So we start with easy running, we start with strength training and doing all these things, and then we add in speed workouts, getting uncomfortable in running those really fast paces, holding those fast paces so that we become more efficient runners, and yes, then we do get faster over time, okay? What else do I want to talk about? Again, I just want to emphasize that there's nothing wrong with walking. Walking is extremely beneficial. Over time, we want to see our run times increase, our walk times decrease eventually to 0, unless you're doing speed workouts. If you're doing speed workouts, you have to follow the recovery protocol that I tell you to do. If I tell you to jog the recovery intervals, jog them. If I tell you to walk them, walk them. Do not cut them short. If I say you need to walk for 2 minutes, walk for 2 minutes. Don't run for a minute until your heart rate recovers and then run again, okay? There's a purpose to every intensity of run. There's a purpose to every structure of run. And if you modify it, you're modifying the purpose. And a lot of times that means that you're running a lot more taxing or higher intensities than you need to. But usually you're just running in that moderate zone. And we really want to do low intensity and high intensity. Yes, there is moderate intensity, but if you change the structure of those recovery intervals, it falls into the moderate intensity, and then you're not getting enough low intensity work, okay? The other thing is, specifically for a 1 minute on, 1 minute off fartlek workout, you are actually getting more fit and stronger during the recovery 1 minute walks. So if I'm telling you to run for 1 minute and then walk for 1 minute, the recovery interval is actually more important than the running interval, because that recovery time, when you slow down to a walk, the blood is rushing back to your heart, and that's actually what's that rush back to your heart is actually what's making your heart stronger. So do not cut the recovery intervals short, and follow actually what I'm telling you to do for the recovery intervals, okay? All right. Last thing that I want to talk about that a lot of people are getting frustrated with is hills. Hills during your runs. The majority of you have hills in your town where you run. Unless you live in Fargo, then there are no hills except overpasses. So how do you incorporate hills into your training? If you don't live by hills, overpasses, parking garages, or the treadmill, okay? Or if you're going somewhere to the lake on the weekend, you're traveling, you're likely to find hills to run, and that's okay. Like, we want to incorporate that variation into our training. But that being said, if you live somewhere where there are hills, or you're running an overpass and you get frustrated with your heart rate increasing on hills during your easy runs, don't get frustrated. Just walk or slow down, okay? There's nothing wrong with walking. And again, we talked about the terrain, which varies our effort level. And my neighborhood is basically at the top of a hill. There are 2 roads into my neighborhood. There are 3 ways to get to my neighborhood, and every single one is uphill for a mile. So no matter what, my first mile from my run, if I leave from home, which the majority of the time I do, it's downhill. That means the mile back, my last mile for every single run, is always uphill. There's one hill that is a lot steeper than the others, And to this day, I still do not run up it every single day. Last year at this time was the first time that I actually ran up it since I started running again. So it took me a full year of easy running. Last year, I ran the Fargo Marathon in May. I started incorporating speed workouts in April. So I was walking for 14 months, and then I had 11 months of low heart rate training, okay? So essentially 25 months of low heart rate training, and it took me 25 months, but 11 months of being back into running to actually run up this entire hill, okay? Don't be ashamed of walking up hills. Don't be ashamed of walking at all. If anyone sees you walking, it's a mere glimpse or thought in their day, and they're not thinking, oh my gosh, she's walking, not running. Oh my gosh, she stopped running on that hill and she started walking. Oh my gosh, why is she not running up this hill? No one is having those thoughts, okay? Even as a runner, if I see someone walking up a hill, I don't immediately think like, oh my gosh, why isn't she running? Like, no one has those thoughts. Only we have those thoughts. So stop being ashamed of walking up hills. Stop getting frustrated with it. It just takes a lot of time to be able to conquer some of these hills and run up the entire thing, okay? Again, almost 2 years back into running, and this one hill, sometimes I can run up the entire thing without my heart rate getting above my easy zone. Sometimes I can only make up half of it. Sometimes I don't even want to try and I walk up the entire thing. Or I don't even want to walk up it, so I take another route and run up one of the other hills or run walk, okay? So it happens to everyone. Don't push through running these hills that gets your heart rate up every single time. Like, just take it easy. Remember, it's about time on your feet. It's about effort level. It's not about pace. It's not about what your watch says. It's only about the distance or the time that I want you to run, which is ultimately easy pace and time on your feet, okay? Let me know what questions you have about easy running, and I'll try to answer all of them.